get something, and I kept delaying it. But you said they were closed for a year though, right?
It's been a while, maybe not a year, because I saw it on Facebook, and I was complaining about it, how they closed, and someone told me they were still open, so I thought maybe I was just wrong, but
okay,
must not be.
I'm just like, geez, that stinks.
Well, where else has really good bread pudding?
I don't know. So I'm trying to find. No idea.
I have to figure that out.
Yeah. And you have one in Delaware. It's in Newark.
That might be worth the drive too.
That's like driving to the other one.
Yeah.
Because I think that actually might be further. Let me see. Because the Newark is let's see. Hey y'all, how y'all doing? Welcome back. Well, that's about an hour and 7 minutes. It's not bad.
That's not bad at all.
Yeah, but an hour for that. I mean, if you go, let me know.
It's really good bread pudding.
I will give you my money and just bring it back up with you. What's up, y'all? Hope everybody's
desperate
well.
Times call for desperate measures when it comes to bread pudding.
Yes. Now that you're in your rehab, you'll start driving again soon, and
so turns out I'm still not allowed to drive yet. I feel like I could do it.
No, don't even try it.
I think I could.
Don't even try. You so hard-headed.
I didn't say I was going to try. I just said I think I could do it. I think I would make out fine if I did, but
don't do it. Hello all. Y'all pray for me, please. Hey, Sister Shirley, how you doing?
Hey, I miss being able to go places.
Well, I mean, it's like COVID. You don't have to go places now. You'll get a chance to go. Just be patient. It's funny. I'm talking about patience and Emerge this week.
Oh yeah.
Patience. The Bible says let patience have her perfect work. Patience do its job on you. Let patience work out.
I am being patient. I'm also going stir crazy.
Sitting in the house all day. We'll go outside and take a walk.
I did that today. I took my dog out. That was nice.
Yeah, go sit out back. But he'd be like, do you go out to eat dinner? I go out in my backyard, sit at the table, eat dinner outside. That's me going out to eat.
Yep. That's the best way to do it.
Yeah. Hey, y'all, share if you can. Share as always, Maximize Monday as we, real quick, some housekeeping. We had a great drive-in Bible study. It was actually pretty cool. It was actually pretty cool.
It's cool. You see the people flickering their lights?
Yeah, I saw flickering the lights. It takes a minute to get used to all the horns while you're talking.
Uh-huh.
Because I'm trying to get a point.
But that was your first time preaching outside like that. That's cool.
Yeah. So it was cool. Now I'm still congested from it, but they're like, I'm like, Pastor Simmons, what's up?
I'm one of those people.
Hey, I'm like, man, I was jacked up after that thing, talking with all that dirt and stuff. Yeah.
Wow.
My allergies are getting worse the older I get. And then, but we are out this Sunday at 6:00 for outdoor communion, drive-in communion service. Drive up. You can either bring your elements if you're not comfortable. Hey, Kevin. Hey, Keisha. Hey, Dana. And then our deacons can pass around the elements to you, depending on your own comfort. If you got OCD issues like me, you bring your own stuff. Hey, my leader.
Yeah.
Bring your own bread.
Someone asked me this weekend, are we still passing them out on Saturday also, or just on Sunday since we're having communion that day?
Probably on Sunday. Just on Sunday that day, that night. Yeah, just that night. Yeah. So come to service. You can get them that night, or you can bring them in the car with you if you want, however you want to do them. Depends on your own comfort.
No, but that's gonna be nice to be able to, especially after all the lessons we've had on communion, to be able to be together in person to take it.
Yeah.
It's gonna be really nice.
Yeah. Cheryl, Sister Shirley, you gotta come up sometime. You know, come on up, enjoy it. It's gonna be a good service. It's gonna be great. So anywho, please share if you can. And I think those are the major points because there's nothing tomorrow. Nothing I gotta take for tomorrow night, right?
There's focus tomorrow. No.
When's
September start? Wednesday,
yeah. Oh no.
So you're good.
Tomorrow is Emerge, right? Because you said you'll be here.
Yes, I'll be here. I'll be there early to do that at 2:30.
Yeah. Okay. All right. That's cool. I'll have it done by then.
Cool.
I'm glad we said something because again, I was thinking, lunch. I'll go to Famous Days. Give me some before I go home, and I'll miss you. Be like, where are you? I'm like,
yeah, that would not have been good.
not to stay to eat. I was gonna go up there and grab the food and go home with the food. I'm not going out to the restaurants right now. I just ain't doing it. All right. So we were talking about fear for the whole month of August, and sorry, it just came out of nowhere.
Wow.
Right. Just an FYI, next week we're going to be off because it's Labor Day, and it's starting in September. We're going to start at noon instead of 1 o'clock. We'll be at noon. Have your lunch with us, and we may at times have a little bite to eat while we're talking with y'all too.
You should put a recipe list of things together.
I bought some okra and I need to make that. So.
Anyway, continue.
Right. Well, I can't. A lot of people don't like okra, so that's not like a common thing. Southern thing. I grew up with my grandparents. You had okra, stewed tomatoes, and rice and a meat, and it was just wonderful. It's good. It's a Southern thing, down in the country. Anyway, we were talking about fear and irrational fears over stuff that don't make much sense.
I have very rational fears.
You think. Yeah, fried okra. Yep, fried okra. Some stewed tomatoes on some rice. Woo! Lord have mercy. Man, it's good. Jesus, keep me to the cross. My grandma, man, she used to make that, tear that up.
But I feel like it's different when grandma makes it. When grandma makes it, it has a whole different.
It's love in there.
It's on a whole different level.
It's called love. That's what it's called. It's called love for your people. Anyway, we're talking about fear. We're gonna mess around and talk about.
Somebody say with a piece of cornbread.
I would do it with a biscuit. I'll do it in a biscuit. I mean, I like cornbread, but cornbread's kind of overrated a little bit. Just,
You say I'm bad?
You know what it is? It's the box cornbread is okay. Like from scratch, cornbread is better. Yes, from scratch is better. Like you got like Redstone cornbread it's good. Yeah, Maya has a food fear. Yes,
I do not have a food.
She has a food fear.
I do not. Trust me.
She has a fear of certain foods. She hasn't even tried it. Ew, that's nasty. Ew, I've
had it before.
I'm talking about this stuff in general. I never had it before, but it just looks gross and sounds nasty. Good okra is not supposed to be real slimy. That's what gets people. It's real slimy. It's not supposed to be real slimy. If you cook it right, it's a little bit, but not like where it's like super wet and nasty slimy. So, but I don't like black eyed peas, though. You can't ask me. You don't like them either?
No, I like black eyed peas.
I don't like black eyed peas. So, yeah. Anyway,
you're weird.
Fear. Let's get my delivered today. Fear. Fear. So we were talking a lot. If you missed last week's topic on fear, let me try and get my head adjusted. If you missed last week's topic on fear, you need to go back and watch it. We hit this zone. I don't know where it was. The Lord it was the Lord, and we talked about a lot of stuff with fear and the whole David and Goliath story. And going through David and Goliath's story, Israel's fear of Goliath, David's faith in God. I notice how I put it. Israel's fear of Goliath, David's faith in God. And Israel had more faith in Goliath's power. David had more faith in God's power. Faith is belief that can work good or bad. The power is not in faith. The power is in who you believe in. So, their belief, fear, as they say, fear is faith in the wrong place. Fear is faith in the wrong place. They saw Goliath. They became afraid. They ran away because Goliath is all about intimidation. And we talked about learning to identify your Goliaths. When you read it, whenever they heard Goliath, whenever they saw him, their whole thought process was, let me run away. I got to get out of here because of what I see. Faith doesn't deny what you see. Faith just sees God in everyday life. So some people think faith is denial. It's not there. I don't have this problem. I'm not sick. I'm healed. No, you are sick, but God's going to heal you. That whole, if you got faith, don't say the negative is not biblical.
Yeah.
Faith acknowledges what's wrong while speaking what's right. So David acknowledged the existence of Goliath, but believed God's power over the presence of Goliath. That's real faith.
Mm-hmm.
If I can put it that way. You see that all through scripture. Faith is not denial. Faith acknowledges what's wrong, but also believes and speaks what is right and what's true. Right. That's genuine faith. So
keep going faster.
We're going to put Kevin on this show too. It'll be the three of us doing it.
Leave him out of this.
Why? That's because you and Kevin, y'all get in the zone. Me and you, it's like, keep talking, keep doing it, Pastor.
You were preaching. I was listening.
I was done my point.
Oh, I thought you had more to say. It wasn't like a capstone to it.
That was it. Or despite. It's an inside joke, yo. Oh no, it was on one of the lies. So
that makes sense. Don't worry about it.
Right. David's faith was due to his previous experiences with God, with other opponents. David said, God delivered me from the lion and from the bear, and surely he can help me with this Goliath. Mm-hmm. So I think that if we look back over our lives and hold on to our testimony will give us faith for the present and for the future.
Yeah.
Sometimes we sorry. No, go ahead.
I think that's there's something that's really special about that, when you let your testimony speak for, like you just said, your future. Because when I think of like David and Goliath, like Goliath had to represent the physical representation of all the insecurities that David must have had for himself. And I feel like that's something we all kind of experience in life, feeling insecure and feeling like I can't do it because I'm not qualified or whatever. But like you said, God has got you through. God got me through some of the biggest challenges or things that I thought I couldn't make it through. So I had to continue to let that faith, direct me, and okay, I can make it through whatever comes next.
Yeah. I mean, and that's where, when David first saw it, he said, yo, who's this uncircumcised Philistine to be defying God? Israel, they were afraid because they were looking at themselves. David was like, yo, you think, he was like, yo, Goliath, you think you messing with a people. You're actually messing with God. And David was offended because he was like, you're defying the living God. And I think we need to remember that when our Goliaths, when the things that want to stop us, to make us afraid, are coming against us, they are defying what God's trying to do in our lives. And David goes back again, the lion and the bear, testimony of your life and what God has done should and will give you faith for your future.
But why do you think it's so easy to forget those testimonies that we have? I feel like
That's what I'm about to
it's
say.
easier. It's easier to see all the things that we can't do instead of seeing all the ways that we have, all the things that we have done through God. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I think the thing I'm glad you brought is we get selective amnesia. Fear and anxiety will cause you to, if you allow them to forget, to lose your part of your memory. Some, if I can say it like that, it's still there, but like kind of
Mm-hmm.
blocks it out. You got to look at it like this. David recognized something, that whether it's the lion, the bear, or Goliath, it's not about the enemy. It's about God being with me. I think we get caught up in, okay, that was a lion. I can handle that. Ooh, that bear, that was different. Goliath,
Mm-hmm.
oh, Goliath isn't a lion and Goliath isn't a bear. How am I going to be able to take care of this? When the reality is, David's trying to show us it's not about the size of the thing you're dealing with. It's about the size of the God that's on your side. We get hung up on the problem and not God.
Mm-hmm.
When the reality is, as Ty Tribbett says, same God right now, same God back. If he
Yeah.
did, that's the overall premise of it. We get hooked on, it's a new problem. I can't deal with this. But are you serving a new God? No.
Mm-hmm.
So God's trying to remind us it's not about the size of the thing or what you're dealing with. It's the
Mm-hmm.
same God with you in everything. But we get hung up on new problems, new things. I never dealt with this before. When God is saying, you never dealt with that, but I have.
Yeah.
You don't know that, but you know me. And if you know me, it'll help you deal with the things you've never dealt with before.
Mm-hmm.
And I think
I
that's
like
why.
the sorry, go ahead, you finish. I was gonna say I like the analogy that you mentioned during Engage one time, the Q&A session, about how you and your son were walking down the dark hallway.
Yeah.
And how he couldn't see, but because you were there, and of course you've done it before, he had that trust in you, that innate trust. I think that's a really good representation how we all should relate to God.
Yeah. Yeah. We're hung up on the new thing. And God's like, I'm not new. I've dealt with this before. And I may not have dealt with it in your life, but I have in the lives of other people.
Yeah.
There's no temptation. There's no problem that's not common to people. You know? And okay. I need to throw this out here real quick. And we've said it before. And it's not that I like it, but it's just the reality. Just because we're saved and have God doesn't make us exempt from everything.
Mm-hmm.
And the real and the psalmist talks about this, the real battle is, why does God let bad things happen even though I'm serving him? It's like I can see if I messed up and I was the cause of the problem. At least
it makes sense.
know why. It makes sense. But
Yeah.
and I think part of that is the human understanding of, if I have God, why do I have to deal with this? And again, y'all, this is why I did that whole lesson. Sometimes life sucks, sometimes life stinks, because it's because we're saved. And we mentioned this yesterday. Doesn't mean we're exempt from common things.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not that I like them. It's just, our families have hard times. People with the Holy Ghost lose jobs. We all lose loved ones, and they're very difficult things to deal with. But I think that's why Peter says, think it not strange that we experience trials and tribulations and hard times.
Mm-hmm.
God didn't come to make us exempt from problems. He came to help us through life's problems. Now, yeah, there are some things that God blocks, God stops, but the whole premise is that, can we trust God when he's blocking stuff? And can we trust God when he lets something through?
Yeah.
So with this, why was God allowing this Goliath to come here? Because, hey, obviously there's some faith that Israel needed that they didn't have before.
Yeah.
I think we think because we got God, everything will be smooth sailing. And I think we've been sold a hustle in.
Mm-hmm.
We bought into a hustle that every day's going to be great. because you got God, every day gonna be Sunday, and you know,
Yeah.
and
But
we felt a
why would
motivational message.
why would we even think that though? If Jesus had to go through all he went through, that's text in the Bible. Why would we be exempt if God's only begotten Son had to go through it? Why not us
Because
in some shape, way, or form?
there's a portion of the people in the body of Christ that teach this principle that because Jesus suffered, we don't have to suffer.
Hmm.
And people teach that and people believe that because they're taught everything's going to be great. Jesus suffered. You're never going to have to suffer. It's always going to be good times and sunshine. And, you know, and that's not biblically true at all. See, what we went
I don't
from,
remember that being in the Bible.
what we went from, I'm talking about the church at large, especially like part of the Black church, it was all suffering. Everything was suffering. You was always climbing up the rough side of the mountain. Every day was trash. Every day was terrible. And it was nonstop suffering. And then the pendulum shifted to all prosperity. You're never going to cry again. You're always going to have money. You're never going to get sick. Nothing bad ever going to happen to you, you know. And it shifted to this whole health, wealth, and prosperity thing, which is in the Bible, but we went too far with it. And now God's trying to bring us back into that balance that, yes, he can prosper your life. Yes, he can heal you. But all that doesn't eliminate the struggles that come with living.
Yeah.
You know? So we're all shocked by things because we didn't expect them. But when is God ever shocked by something?
Mm-hmm.
That's my question. When is God ever shocked by it?
Mm-hmm.
And if God allowed it over the hedge, there's a reason why he allowed it over the hedge.
Right.
And some of the stuff we're dealing with is not satanic. It's just life, y'all. Some stuff is satanic.
Mm-hmm.
Some things is just the natural course of life. You know, if I sit Indian style for years and I start getting arthritis in my knees, that ain't the devil attacking my knees. I've just been sitting wrong the whole time. You've been eating fried chicken and eating burgers and bacon all day, every day, and your blood pressure go up. The devil's not attacking your body. You just eat bad. Like, I'm sorry.
You need to take some responsibility for things.
Hello? Or some people, you know, I know I message you a lot. You know, some people just grow up and got issues with their bodies. Your knees is all, you just, you know, you just happen to be born with issues with your legs and stuff. Does that mean God's not good to you? No. We all deal with something in this life.
Yeah. But I think that's where a shift in perspective comes into, because I could definitely be here moping around about how bad my legs are, or how I wish I didn't have these surgeries. But I can also, my shift in perspective is, you know, God got me through all that. You know, I shouldn't be able to walk with everything that I've been through.
Mm-hmm.
And so that just changes that whole outlook for me, you know? So like how much I definitely feel like everything that we go through serves a purpose, but we need to change our perspective in order to see what the purpose is.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Because all of us are born with something.
Mm-hmm.
Whether it's physical, we experience something emotional or psychological. No one living is exempt from the human condition. You know, I don't know how we got on fear talking about this, but it just, you know, some stuff does catch us by surprise, and some stuff we didn't expect, and stuff we don't want to happen. So I'm not sitting there, you know, trying to, you know, berate or anything like that, because there are times where I wonder, God, what's up? Why? And those are real feelings, but bring them to God, though.
Mm-hmm.
Take them to him in prayer and trust him enough that he's going to carry you through all of it, walk you through it, help you through all of it. You know, like good thing technology's coming up. You might have some like titanium legs or something and just make you look a mini cyborg or something. Just
right. That would be kind of cool though.
But you know, I mean, look, in the book of Judges, the Bible says that God kept certain adversaries when they came to the promised land. God kept certain adversaries in the land to keep the people, to teach them how to obey, how to war, and how to fight. He kept certain problems there for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
you know. And I think we need to remember God keeps certain problems around for a reason. If we trust him enough, we got to trust him in those problems too.
Yeah.
So Goliath is something that presents itself that we have to trust God through. And David had to come and say, yo, you messing with the wrong group of people and the wrong God, bruh. You know, who are you to defy the armies of the living God? You know, he's David's going off on him,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and this is where it is. Goliath talks trash. You got to talk trash back to your Goliath.
Yep.
Goliath talks a whole lot of trash. You got to talk trash back to. Say what you got to say.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we let the devil win because we let him talk and we don't say nothing. Talk back. Use God's word. Talk back, and watch how your faith starts to increase as you're talking back. All right, I'm sorry. I just
So
for a minute.
I think Kevin left an interesting comment in the comments. He said, no one takes the testimony seriously.
Yeah, I mean, and that's why David had to take his own testimony seriously.
Yeah. But do you
Good.
think that we take God for granted that he's just going to do good or get us through? And that way, our testimonies aren't, we don't, I guess, respect, for lack of better words, our testimonies are reverenced in the way that we should.
Rephrase it real quick. I just make sure I'm answering your question right. Because not you, not him, you, what you said.
Oh.
Yeah.
Because we take for granted that God has gotten us through these things, that we're not reverencing them, you know, as much as we should, or we don't realize how valuable, you know, the testimonies are in our lives.
Oh yeah, I mean, we all take God for granted. He does stuff, we just like, oh, thank you, you know, just, you know, that is there, where we kind of overlook some things when God is trying to show us in the constant little things too that he's still moving in our lives.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, it just really it's learning your story. I overcame this. I overcame this. God brought me through this. God brought me through that. And when you have that type of mindset, when a new problem shows up, like you kind of get offended, like, nah, you're not gonna win this time.
Mm-hmm.
You know, God has me in all of this.
Yeah.
You know, and you trust God through, and that, but the thing is that takes some time and going through. You know, that takes you going through some experiences to have that type of faith. You know, to say, here it is. When you read Philippians, Paul knows he's about to be executed. He's about to be martyred. And he was stoned, didn't kill him. You know, all on a shipwreck, breaks apart, doesn't kill him. When he finally gets to the place where he says, you know what? They're about to cut my head off. And Paul's like, death is an enemy. But watch this. He says in Philippians 1, he says, whether I live or whether I die, God will be glorified. That was his mindset.
Mm-hmm.
He said, I know what's getting ready to happen. I fought the good fight. I kept the faith. I did all stuff. And now I'm ready to be offered up. He saw his death as an offering and a sacrifice to God.
Mm-hmm.
That mindset only comes through maturation with God to be able to accept that reality. He didn't say it was a devil. You know, he just said, this is what God's going to let happen. I know I've done my work. I've done my job.
Yeah.
I can't choose how I'm going to die, but this is the way it's going to happen. And he said, if it's going to happen this way, I'm going to make sure God gets glory out of it. To me, that's another dimension of faith that comes from experience with God.
Mm-hmm.
I actually did a whole paper on that. It comes from experience with God. A life that's used to serving, dying to self, living for him gives you that type of faith to be able to manage situations differently. You know, you've been saved for a long time and God's been doing great things for you. Your faith is supposed to be different now than it was earlier.
Yeah.
A little more sure, a little more solid. Because you see all the things that God has done for you and all the things that he's brought you through. All depends. Here it is. To answer your question, board, it all depends on how you see it.
Yeah.
All depends on how you see it. I think living a life of gratitude helps you see it better because you're grateful for the stuff God keeps doing.
Mm-hmm.
And you're reminding yourself, he brought me through this. He brought me through this. I thank him for bringing me through it. It does help you
Yeah.
along.
Mm-hmm. So it's not bad to have those moments of insecurity or doubt where you're feeling, okay, I don't know how I'm going to make it through this. But as long as you are, like you said earlier, speaking into the situation and speaking to the enemy, you say, okay, I got this. God's going to get me through.
Yeah. Like we said at the discussion yesterday, faith helps us process our feelings. And you read the Psalms, they are full of insecure statements and trusting God in the insecurity.
Mm-hmm.
You know, full of them. So the issue is not, are we ever going to feel insecure? The issue is what we're going to do when we feel insecure. That's really what it comes down to. But it's a part of the human condition. And learning to trust God through that, work through that. I mean, think about it. The same one who wrote, be anxious for nothing, but do all things in prayer and supplication, make personal to God and the peace of God, that kind of stuff, is the same one that battled anxiety. He says it in scripture. He said, I despaired for my life and I wanted to die. In the other Corinthians, Paul was like, yo, I've had anxiety. Real theology is, how do you hold those two intentions? Somebody that battles with theology, with anxiety, and then at the same time says, be anxious for nothing. Does that scripture just mean a blanket thing? No, it's something to work through.
Yeah.
It's something to live through. But the one who wrote it battled with a lot of the things he wrote about.
Mm-hmm.
That's real leadership right there. And studying the Bible in that way, that's when you're really doing theology.
Yeah.
Is the one that writes the stuff, struggles with the stuff. Yeah.
I feel like oftentimes we just want it one way or the other. Mm-hmm. So being able to acknowledge that there is going to be a balance and that it's okay.
Yeah. And it's like, yo, okay, I got this feeling. It's appropriate, especially when it's appropriate. It's appropriate. So what do I do about it now? Somebody grieving the loss of a loved one, of course they're going to grieve. Grief is not an inappropriate feeling. When God says don't fear, it's not like that fear in and of itself is this demonic thing per se. It's just, what do I do when the fear comes? Mm-hmm. We act like God is shocked that we have moments of doubt. Like it's like he already knows we're going to doubt at times. The question is, what are you going to do with it when you doubt? Because faith allows you to process your feelings. And I think, especially this new generation coming up that's talking about mental health and God, they're more outspoken. Like, I got God, but I'm struggling with depression. I got God, but I'm struggling with anxiety. I have God, but I'm struggling with insecurity. And they're like they're saying it.
Yeah.
And I'm getting help, to be able to deal with this versus, some folk act like I'm never bothered. I'm always walking in faith. Lying.
Mm-hmm.
Lying.
Because we're told not to talk about it. Don't put your business out on the street. Don't let people know what you're struggling with. But that's not helping you in the long run.
Yeah. I think this generation is sharing too much. Some of it's too much. But some stuff, definitely. You're right. Some stuff is appropriate to be able to say. I think the reason why you're hearing people talk about mental health so much is to remove the stigma from it. Mm-hmm. If the stigma wasn't there, you wouldn't hear as many people talking about, hey, I'm saved and I battle with so-and-so, so-and-so. Mm-hmm. Because what happens is, if nobody in the church talks about it, the person that's feeling it feels like something's wrong with them.
Yeah.
Everybody else is fine. I must be the only one battling with this. I'm not saved enough. I'm not good enough. And then you hear somebody else saying, I got the Holy Ghost, but life is hard. And I don't, and I struggle at times emotionally with it. And they're like, it's more than just me.
Right.
So it's good in a way that it's allowing, it's taking that stigma off where people don't feel odd and different. That yes, I'm saved. At the same time, I got issues that I need help with.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
It doesn't make you a bad Christian.
doesn't make you a bad Christian. Not at all. So one of the transparency moments I'm glad for this new generation is the willingness to say, you know what, sometimes life is hard. There are times you may battle with anxiety, depression, or whatever. And it's let's figure out through counseling, God, and all that good stuff, how we can deal with this.
Right.
Problem is sometimes they should share too much. I'm like, you don't need to go that far. Just
So there needs to be a better balance for sure.
Lord, they just throw it all out there in the name of keeping it real. And it's like, yo, keep that to yourself.
I didn't need to know all that.
Like, geez, that was way too much.
Yeah.
So,
but do you think some of that comes from attention, getting attention?
Oh, please, of course it is. Yeah, keeping it real to get attention, absolutely. Almost like we were talking about last night, and even on the radio. Are we doing this stuff just to build a crowd up?
Mm-hmm.
I don't want us to sound too old fogey because I understand, generations see social media differently.
Yeah.
But I think that without sounding like too much of a get off my lawn type person, I do think
we all know the truth, Pastor Nick.
Right. The motive for some of it is questioning, because it's like you can share, but what was your purpose? Is it to get a following?
Right.
See, the difference is like if I share with you, you say you hit me up and was like, just hypothetical, right? This hasn't happened, just hypothetical. You say, okay. I woke up and had a panic attack, right? And I've been anxious ever since. And I look at you and say, yeah, I had a panic attack one time too. And I posted online, oh, Maya had a panic attack, and I told her I had a panic attack too. and I left it right there. It'll be a whole lot of I'm praying for you, and hearts and lights, but there was no solution there. There was no It was just to put it out there like we're all got this issue together. And it's like, where is this going? And I think that's my dilemma with a lot of the sharing. It's sharing just to share with no real solution, no real answer,
right?
No real resolution. They talk more about the problem than the actual solution itself. It's just,
And I think that's what the difference is between an influencer and someone who influences, someone who has a solution or is being vulnerable, but with the cause of actually, helping people or leading people to direction where they can get support.
Yeah, exactly. It's and that's where, and that is a good difference when you actually make an effective change rather than, bad change. Like, you remember the Fire Festival?
Yeah.
When they got all those influencers to talk about the festival, and the influencers most of them didn't even go. They just paid them to talk about it. And here's the crazy thing. All those people went down there based off thinking that these people are going to be there, number one, or just because the person said this is where you need to be. There was a guy living in his parents' basement, didn't have the money to move out, but spent like $5,000 to $6,000 to go down there.
No way.
Go look up the did you watch the Netflix and the YouTube joint on it?
No, I haven't watched it yet. No.
This came out a couple years ago. There's a Netflix one and a Hulu one about it, and some of the articles were talking about it. And they showed how they used the influencers online to get people to go to the festival. And I think a few of them showed up, and that's how it really blew up, because some of the, not the bigger influencers, but some of the other ones start talking about it, sharing information about it. But again, that's another thing where influencers, they took the money but didn't do the research on what they were pushing. I think one of the Jenners or the Kardashian girls marketed. Of course, she wasn't going.
Yeah, I remember that.
But I just think that we have to be careful what we put our name on. in how we're influencing people and what we're influencing them to.
Absolutely.
I just don't like the term influencer because it seems real kind of highfalutin.
I agree.
That's just me. Again, that's me and my age. People younger than me can look at the more nuanced, but I'm talking about me. I'm not
like, I mean, I straddle both ends because like I work in social media and like that's just the term that's used. But personally, like I think influencers, when I think influencer, I think of Jesus. So like it has a whole different meaning of Jesus. Like,
oh, Jesus, okay. All right.
Like he was an influencer, pastor, like you're influencing lives to Christ. Like that for me is what an influencer is. So yeah, I don't like using that word either.
It just seems real bougie and here it is. Hierarchical, like we're up here, influencer, but again, what are you influencing to? What are you accomplishing? Now I am not against people making their money online, promoting brands, doing all that stuff.
No
problem.
You said it right.
If you build a following, you look at somebody like Tabitha Brown. She built a following of veganism and all the stuff like that. She's doing a lot of good in the world. She's not out here doing, looking all crazy. And do I agree with everything? No. You talking about it's a piece of carrot. It's vegan bacon. No, it's a carrot you just cooked. It just people like this. That is vegan bacon. I'm like, that's a darn carrot you made. But
yeah.
But overall, I think that I don't know how we got on this point. Overall,
but you said it right. You said it right because there are some people who are very proud of that term influencer, but when it comes to relating with people, it's don't talk to me, you're below me, I'm not even going to acknowledge that you're in the room. And I say that from personal experience. So like it's very hierarchical and it's not nice.
Yeah. And I mean, and eventually it's like, people are always going to move on to the next person and to the next thing. And some people get in like business and they do well and they got their consistent followers. And, people move on to somebody else, but you got your main people. That happens. But one of my things is I want to raise my kids where their goal in life is not to be famous on social media. I need you to do something else with your life besides that. Unless you're doing good with it and you bringing in some good money. But outside of that, no. We're supposed to be talking about fear. How do we get all out here?
I don't know, but whatever, somehow it was your fault.
She's an influencer. That's what happens. I see you moved your head to cover the stairwell.
I was trying to be strategic this time, just in case. Won't take no chances.
Because she was sitting there looking like,
oh wow, that's what made it even worse. Like I can't with her.
That was hilarious. All right, y'all. Look, we gotta get out of here. What's up? What's going on this week?
So this week, of course, we have the recap tonight at 5:30. The whole recap team talking about yesterday's service. And then we're going to do a rebroadcast of Sunday's service tonight at 7 p.m. And then, of course, on Wednesday, we're back for Word Impact Gathering at our normal time of 7 p.m. And then I'm excited for this. We have another Cooking with Chef this Thursday at 7. So Chef always makes the most delicious meals. So he's going to be giving us a walkthrough on how to cook a meal on this Thursday. And of course, the Harvest Cafe is open for curbside pickup. So you can go ahead and visit our website to see what the menu is. Saturday on point at 9 a.m. talking about politics, social issues, culture, sports, anything and everything. Bishop and Pastor Nick talk about it. And then of course we have emerging worship at 6 p.m. that same evening. And then Sunday's a full day of worship, starting with Encounter at 8 a.m. and 11 a.m. We've also started doing Engage Live prior to our Sunday services. So tune in for that as well. It's a fun time to be able to engage with everyone. And then this is the creme de la creme, the drive-in communion service on Sunday at 6, which is going to be an amazing time. So if you're in the area, come out to our location in Lindenwold and let's have a time of fellowship.
Yeah, it's gonna be good. Maybe you could answer these
Mhm.
questions about the influencer thing. Somebody had 2 questions. I don't know.
Are influencers based on their opinions? Is an influencer a title without a responsibility? So let's go with this one first. I think it can work both ways. I think sometimes it can just be a title, like Pastor Nick said earlier, just sharing stuff for the likes. But there are definitely people who have the title of influencer with the cause of being of support and encouragement to people. So you have to be careful about who you're following online and what their motives are. Is it just money? Because they can get that, but is it really with wanting to help people? And then are influencers based on their opinions? I think sometimes yes, and sometimes no. I don't know if I'm answering these questions good because it really depends on who the influencer is.
Yeah,
So, like you mentioned, Tabitha Brown, like she has a wealth of knowledge in veganism and whatnot. So people go to her for that information. Um, so I don't know, it really depends on. For me, it depends on who you're looking at.
yeah, yeah. So it's like for instance, Maya. No matter how big she make it, she's not gonna let Tabitha Brown retire and her husband make her do this.
No problem with that. I just question. We're not gonna get into that topic. I am very happy for Tabitha Brown and for her husband.
I know you are. I know I'm teasing. All right, y'all. We're getting out of here. Don't forget we're off next. We'll probably just do a previous recorded video next Monday. That's fine.
Yeah, we can do that.
We're running at noon, just something, and we'll make it work. All right, y'all. See y'all later.